feel that temperature getting lower and lower outside every single day? It's starting to feel like fall, and with that, we're in the meat and cheese of football season. This is Dylan Conley, and this is the Bomber Buzz here on the Bomber Sports Network and Classic Hits 101.7. We're going to take you to kickoff of the Mountain Home Bombers in their opening conference game against the Fort Smith Southside Mavericks. Should be a good one there from Fort Smith. One of the longer road trips Mountain will have to take this year, the longest being Greenwood. So it's about a 3.5-hour drive over to Fort Smith. Should be a good game tonight. A few things we want to go through. The Lady Bomber volleyball team through their first leg of the conference season. They finished 5-3, currently sit 2 games above Batesville as of Tuesday evening in the 5A East. It's going to be a fun charge to the state tournament for them. Hopefully they get in there. Hopefully they start playing some of their better volleyball. They've done good over the last couple matches. They had a big win on Tuesday against Nettleton. I know they lost against Brooklyn, but they showed good fight against them. They're playing better as the season's going along, and that's really good to see. Would be remiss if we didn't mention our golf teams, the Lady Bombers, finishing in second place in the 5A West Conference Tournament. Good job by all 3 of our girl golfers. And our Bomber boys, for the second year in a row, 5A West Conference champions. They will head off to state. The girls will play next week, and the boys will play the week after. It sounds like the boys, they'll have a really good shot to win overall state. Cody Cormican could be the lowest scorer over there. It sounds like Benton's got a very solid boys golf team along with Little Rock Christian. On the girls side, it sounds like it's Russellville's to lose over there, but a lot of good things going on. Bomber tennis, their conference meet is coming up in, I think it starts next week. That's at Batesville, and then the week after state's at Searcy. I was talking to Coach King the other day. He said it's really good to have those meets at least somewhere you're familiar, and they're moderately short drives for us. That's an hour and a half to Batesville. That's about 2:15, 2:30 to Searcy, depending on which way you go, but should be a lot of fun to keep up with those in the coming weeks. But in the meantime, Coach Greg Crow just walked through the door. We're going to take a short little break. We're going to talk to junior high head football coach and Bomber baseball head coach Greg Crow here in just a moment on the Bomber Buzz.
Hi, I'm Kirsten from Pentatonics. We've all learned how to cope with more time alone. With more time spent isolated or at home, the need for companionship has grown. If you've considered adding a pet to your family, please check with your local shelters and foster organizations. Stray pet numbers have grown immensely over the past several years, and the trauma caused to these animals is devastating. Adopt pets, they need us more than we know. This message is courtesy of the United States Air Force.
Back here on the Bomber Buzz, getting you closer to kickoff here from Fort Smith. Should be a good game tonight. This is a widely viewed matchup between the number 5 and number 6 teams in a lot of rankings in Class 6A. We'll get to that later. We got in capital letters, Coach Greg Crow here. Man, tell us about how football's going so far.
Well, we've been fortunate enough to win our first 3 games, and I'm going to be honest with you. I got to love these kids. This is not the biggest group I've had numbers-wise, and it's not the most talented group I've had, but they were playing hard. They've played hard every time we've been out, and our schedule's been kind of funny because we missed a week because of the hurricane, and we played on a Thursday, Monday, so we're kind of just now getting in the swing of things.
That's funny to say you missed a week because of the hurricane in state of Arkansas.
It is. It came out through, and it lightning us out, and, so we're kind of getting in the middle of it. We start conference play soon, and again, these kids have come a long way from where they were at in 7th grade, and like I said, they're a lot of fun to coach. Very teachable.
So you took on Elkins last week. That's always a very stout program. Even I think they're 3. They've been hovering between 3 and 4A.
Yes, and I'm 1 and 4A right now.
Yeah. They're really good. How'd that game go? I know you won. I know you haven't.
We won it.
Game yet this year.
We had an interception return for a touchdown, and it was a physical game. Physical game. They're really, really well coached. We had to grind. We had to really, really grind, and we found a way to get 2 touchdowns there in the second quarter, and then we held serve. We got some things fixed. My coaches did a really, really good job in the second half, making some adjustments to get counter stopped. We were messing up a little bit, and we got that fixed, and the kids brought it home.
Yeah, and then now you start conference play the other night, but you play a lot of good competition out here in this East. You play You play Jonesboro, both the Jonesboro schools, both the West Memphis schools. There used to be 3, now there's 2, and then you play Marion. Is Paragould in that conference? Is it kind of like how volleyball and basketball are? It
is. They're on the other side now.
Okay.
There's like a smaller school and a bigger school side, and then we meet week 10. The winners of each side meet wherever you're at, and then but it is. I mean, the athleticism we see, you got to be really, really fundamentally sound, because if you're not, their athletes will just eat you up.
Yeah, because I've always remembered, West Memphis always had a bunch of NFL talent. Now, this is the mid-2000s. Marion's always had dudes. Jonesboro, I remember we played them. It was like we scored 55, 60 points, and they beat us 20. I mean, they've always been it's a good football area.
Oh, it is. And, we've told our kids we don't have the speed on the back end to man people up that we've had in the past few years. So we're having to do some things coverage-wise where our kids are really having to listen and identify and see and help each other out. And so far, so good,
So the thing that's always big is just the stark contrast of how football is, at least from a competition level in junior high to high school, where you're seeing a lot of athleticism on the eastern part of state, but then you go play like a Lake Hamilton, or you're going to play a Russellville or somebody like that that's just trying to out-physical you. It's like 2 different brands of football.
Yes, 100%. It definitely is. And honestly, it's a really good junior high league for us because, like Coach Harris says, you're chasing speed if you don't see it. And and it's good for our kids to get up to a faster level.
Because would you say that it's easier to see speed first and then adjust to something slower rather than the other way around?
100%. 100%. There's no question about that.
So tell us a little about your 8th grade bunch. They've played good this year so far. They've only had a couple games, though.
We got 6 of those kids up on 9th grade teams, and we still got, I think, 62, 63 sitting in 8th grade right now.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of kids, and, it's going to be one of those deals where we're trying to get 2 platoon by this time next year, where we're playing 11 on offense and 11 on defense, and basically got about 15 or 16 playing on each side of football right there. Now, can we get there? I don't know, but we're getting really, really close. Every week we're getting a little closer, and then those kids that play on the 9th grade team this year are going to be that much better for it next year. So, I'm looking forward to that class. I really like our 7th grade class. They got some kids that can really run in there. So, that's going to be 2 good classes put back to back right there.
That's the eventual goal, is you want to be able to not have any kids playing 2-way.
Absolutely.
In a perfect world. Now, like at the high school level, you got Dawson Dunlap, Barrett Miller, who have to play both ways, but they can handle it.
But they play sporadically on offense, so they don't have to play every single series. And Coach Harry will tell you, with no huddle offenses and the tempo people are hitting at you, you can't survive doing that.
No.
You just, you're going to get killed on Friday nights. And we've got more depth at the high school level right now than we've had since I've been here. And we're doing everything we can to create it at the junior high. There's no doubt.
Yeah, so they have played. They're 2-0. They also had a game of Paragould washed out, didn't they? Mm-hmm. So that's just like it's a gritty bunch. You've won 2 games in 2 different ways. You won at Batesville like 6-0, and then your defense came up big when it had to at West Plains. It was 28-22. Now, I know you weren't there. I think you were at Elkins, but
they did. They were actually down 14-0 in that game and came back and won.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes, and that's Grady Sheehan had some really good plays towards the end of the game to kind of put it away right there. So I really think this time next year we're going to put a really, really good defense on the field. I'm going to be shocked if we don't.
What's the most points you scored at a junior high game? Just like whether it was here or over down the road at your previous place of employment.
69.
69.
We scored 69 against Rogers one year.
Wow.
They were kind of the ringleader of kicking us out of the Northwest Arkansas Conference, so we had them week 10, so we dropped the hammer on them.
That sounds like in a junior high game?
In a junior high game, we got 69.
What, 8-minute quarters?
Yes.
Yes.
Holy
cow.
Pedal to the metal the whole game right there.
Hammer down left lane?
Yeah, no.
Who's that idiot we had coaching
It's absolutely
Arkansas?
nothing Chad Morris was, I can assure you.
I'm about to say, that's it sounded good at the start, then that ended up not so good. You're also the head baseball coach here at Mountain Home. This is year 4 coming up?
Yes.
If you've been here 5 years coaching junior high football, this will be year 4 in baseball.
Yes, correct.
Right. Any idea how things might be looking this year? Just kind of feeling things. I know you're
we've had a couple guys. Drew Haney's obviously gotten injured, and he's got some elbow surgery, and he's going to be back to hit though. And
that'll help.
And Carter Atkins, absolutely. He's just such a tough kid. When we got him in the middle of the order last year, things started to pick up. And honestly, I waited a little too late last year to make that move. Carter Atkins going to be back. So we're going to return. We're going to turn 8 guys that played last year. And the main thing is going to be this year is our pitching going to hold out. Dawson Dunlap's got to step up. He can. Brantley Phillips more than capable. He can step up. Obviously, Ian Ellison made All-State for us last year. We're going to need some young guys in the pitching rotation step up a little bit. I don't know who they are as of right now.
You got the pieces though.
We have some pieces. We're going to turn our whole infield. We're going to basically turn our entire outfield for all practical purposes. Both our catchers are back. So we got a shot.
So they changed up how your conference games are played now. You're not going somewhere on a Tuesday, play doubleheader. You're playing Monday and Tuesday.
Playing Monday,
right?
Tuesday. Now, we play Van Buren and doubleheader in Greenwood. Everybody else, we got to go to one person's place on Monday, and then they're coming to our place on Tuesday or vice versa. And it's added so much travel to our schedule that I have to look at the schedule. And if I'm playing Monday, Tuesday, and then I'm on the road on Monday, my non-conference game's got to go on Thursday the week before. Because, we were at the coaches meeting, and everybody was like, we need to do this, more home games, more JV games. They're thinking JV games, you know, and I tried to tell them, you're not getting fired if you lose JV games.
Correct.
You're getting fired if you don't make the state tournament. And I asked those guys, I'm like, well, you do realize we're all going to have to practice on Sundays now. And they're like, what? I can't imagine not playing a conference game on a Monday and not practicing on Sunday. I don't. But it's added a lot to our plate. There's no doubt. It is not what is best for us. I can assure you.
Now I look at it this way. Everyone's got to do that. It's not like it's just us having to do that. So you still have Farmington's going to have to make those trips down to Russellville, which that's not an easy drive. Right. Everyone's going to have to make those trips, but it's going to be rough when, let's say you have Greenwood on a Monday or a Van Buren or an Alma on a Monday on the road, and then you got to turn around.
There's something about driving here and us driving anywhere and getting off the bus and being ready to play right now.
Yeah.
It's hard, and you can break it up, and we tried all different things, and I haven't solved it yet, to be honest with you. It's you look at our home record last year in conference, we were 9-1 at home.
Yeah.
And we were 0-4
and the one that beat
road.
you was a team that was pretty good.
Yes, it was Greenbrier beat us, and we had them. We had a shot to win that game, but we were 0-4 on the road, and we didn't score a run. There's something to it. We're going to have to grow past that. There's no doubt.
Do you think it's easier to go on the road and say football than baseball? And play?
It is. To me, it is.
Because you're only playing once a week in football, and you kind of know what to expect.
You play once a week. You got a game plan. The kids know what you're running. They kind of know your tempo. As long as everything just doesn't go bad right off the bat, most of the time you can get them. You can coach your kids into a rhythm in football for the most part.
That's I've always seen it seems like football and. For whatever reason, soccer travels well. I never understood that because it seems like they do very well on the road. Basketball, it's about the same, but it's hard to you guys say, we just got to go over there. We got to go to Greenwood, go play some basketball, play some football.
Yes,
you're still loading up a bus 5 hours away to go play something. I know that's not making an excuse, of course, but it's just how it is.
It's just different, and we play on turf here. You go play somewhere it's to the point now. There's so many teams with turf. We're going to have to find a place to practice on dirt because fielding ground balls on dirt is now actually having turf. When you go to a field that has dirt, is a disadvantage.
Yeah.
It's a huge disadvantage.
Because you almost get babied on turf because balls go bounce the same way every single time. But I think where was State last year? That was on a dirt field, was it not?
It was in Harrison last year.
That's right. And that was not a dirt field, was it?
It was not. No.
Yeah. So but it's few and far between. I know if you go play at the Majestic in Hot Springs, and I think Marion, the other field they used was dirt. But you're going to run into that at some point.
Yes, Russellville's on dirt. Greenwood's got dirt right there. Alma's got dirt. So when you make those trips, if you're not playing it, when you don't practice on it, it's just playing on a different surface. It makes it difficult.
Now, the one positive about having turf is you don't ever have a game rained out.
Oh, gosh.
Unless you have a torrential downpour.
From a practice standpoint, I've been on both sides of it. Obviously, we had the city debacle in Bellefonte when I was there, but we don't have practice issues here, and even if the outfield grass is wet, we can still get out and do stuff.
That helps.
It's just practices. With high school kids nowadays, I would rather practice than play, and a lot of guys are different. But you give me a day to practice or a day to play a game, I'll choose practice every single day of the week.
All right, let's move to your little bit of a background. You played some baseball over at Pine Bluff.
I
Go
did.
Zebras.
I did.
When did you graduate?
I graduated in 1992.
Okay, that was 3 years before I was born, by the way.
3 years before you were born. I was fortunate enough to play.
I'm about to ask. You played with two pretty impressive athletes.
Basil Shabazz, who's probably the greatest athlete in history of Arkansas.
I don't think it's close, but yeah.
He was a senior when I was a junior. And Torrey Hunter was and obviously he's Major League Baseball. I don't know how many times. Quite a few.
There's a lot. He played like
yes.
15. I think he almost played 20 years.
He was a sophomore, and and I was fortunate to play for Billy Bach, who's he's 2-time national coach of the decade.
Now, is his son the coach at Bryant?
He's an AD.
Garrett?
Garrett's his grandson.
Okay.
Garrett is the head coach of Bryant. Kirk was the coach at Bryant.
That's right.
Left Harrison. I worked for Kirk. I played for Billy. Worked for Kirk and Harrison, and it was just. And I tell people this all the time. I've been really blessed who I've had a chance to work for. Kirk Bach, nothing against collegiate coaches in the state, is the best baseball coach in the state of Arkansas. I mean, right now, and he's not even coaching. I mean, he's just at a different level. It's just unbelievable, his work ethic and all that stuff. And and I was fortunate enough to coach for Coach Tice. For all the years.
He's still coaching.
Yes, still coaching. I mean, honestly, I talked to him just the other day. I mean, we're still running stuff by each other football-wise. And, and then those are Hall of Fame guys. And I work for Joe Wells, who's probably the most, innovative coach I've ever worked for as far as offensive schemes, knowing stuff. And then obviously, fortunate enough to be with Coach Airy now, which is tremendous also.
Well, you've worked a lot of Hall of Fame coaches.
Where I have been blessed. I've learned a lot.
So, again, I want to talk about a little bit of playing days back then. That was probably fun playing at Pine Bluff.
Oh, gosh. Well, my senior year, we ended up, that was back for that game limit. We were 35-3. And we ended the year ranked 5th in the nation by Baseball America, whatever it was. And, you didn't have pitch limits back then. We had two pitchers that had 14-plus wins on the year. They're throwing Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Tuesday.
Whatever they needed.
Whatever you need to do. And, and the state tournament back in those days was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and finals on Friday. And you played all at one location. So you didn't have a week to get rest and save your ace. And it really brought the best team to the forefront, not the best pitcher.
That's what I always said. When we made that finals run in 2016, we weren't, I think our record, it wasn't just an amazing record. I think we won 8 or 9 games, but everything just kind of clicked. I always thought that if we had played the state finals the next day, I think we would have beat Jonesboro that day. Because you have a week to recoup, plus we were swinging a hot bat. That cools off.
Yes.
You already played something good. Yeah.
You got a whole week to think about it. It's just like we got beat by – when I was in Harrison, we got beat by 2 privates in the state championship game, and we run into big time pitchers that are sitting there that they would have never thrown the next day, and we had plenty of arms sitting there. But when you match up 1 versus 1s, and that's what makes state tournament so interesting. You got to get through the first round to get in people's staffs, and it's just baseball's tough. It's tough to win. Because
baseball, you'll see a lot of upsets in that first round because there might be a team that's like a 4 seed, but they have a dude that's a pitcher,
100%.
And they go beat a team that's won 28 games.
Yes.
It's only there at home.
That's exactly right. It just, I know in 2009 we ended up scraping in the last conference game, and we played a team and we took them out in the first round and go to the finals. So first round, lots of upsets.
Yeah. Now, one thing that's very unique with you coaching both is that you're going to see, for the most part, a lot of the same kids come and go over the years, whether you coach them, maybe just in football and junior high or just in baseball in high school. It's very similar. You get the same amount of kids in that, too. You get, you have a lot of kids that they'll go play football, and then they'll go also play baseball. Because I want to say we have about 10 football kids on the baseball team last year, at least last year.
Coaching, one thing about coaching junior high football, when they're a baseball kid, too, you have a really good idea what you've got when you get them. You have a really good idea what they're gonna do when the moment hits. As far as that goes, and that's one thing I like about doing both. And I know people said, it's hard to do both. It's really not. It's just kind of the routine you get into, But
if you do it long enough, everything comes easy.
Absolutely. And like I said, and I think the difference is just from a strategy standpoint, and and honestly, but football's kind of it's a tough game.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, and I think this is the big difference. I never got to play football. I was 5'4" in 10th grade, and I might have weighed 85 pounds. My parents thought I had a growth defect, and had a size 9 foot, probably the tallest scout size 9 foot you ever seen. But there's nothing like a football locker room after you win.
Oh, yeah.
You can. It's just when you work all week and the celebration and everybody coming together, and there's just nothing like it, except for maybe winning it all in baseball. If you go in a conference doubleheader in baseball, the school's not on fire the next day. You go in a football game on Thursday night, junior high, everybody's talking about it Friday. And that's the fun part about it. You really can control the morale and the energy in a school with the football team, and it's just you've just seen what Coach Harry's done with the high school team. It's awesome to watch.
I think you see that in baseball because there's so much going on in the spring. It's the most loaded season of the year. You got track and field, you got baseball, softball, soccer, it's the end of wrestling, end of basketball. So I will say if you pull off a big win in baseball, people talk.
They definitely talk.
Because Greenwood came to town last year, and they were undefeated in conference. They ended up not making state, but you came over here and we swept them.
Absolutely.
That got people talking. I got my phone was blowing up. I had a buddy at Russellville that's like their radio guy. He was texting me. He's like, "Did I see this score right?" Because don't get me wrong. I thought they were good at the time, and I thought, we play good, we got a chance. But I just had like 3 or 4 people text me. I'm like, "These scores right?"
I got a ton of texts that night because but you know as well as I do. Anytime you beat Greenwood, people are on your side.
Yeah.
They're not the most liked team in the state of Arkansas.
They
would never admit that.
No. Again, I've never had a negative interaction with them. But you've coached against them. But that's people talk anytime something big like that happens.
Yes.
So it helps morale. It's like if you win a football, you beat Harrison in football, that a lot of times that'll give you about a month or two worth of energy throughout the season.
Absolutely. I know when I first got here, our first game was against Harrison, and we had not beat them in a long time in junior high football. And you could literally feel the energy after we beat them. Like you could feel it. You could feel it in the program.
Yeah.
It started everything off on a really good basis, and it's taken a while to build up the energy. The energy in this town for football is from where it was at when we started.
Compared to like 10 years ago, it is night and day.
Oh,
I will say.
And that's the thing about Coach Harry. I've said people all the time. I've worked with a lot of different coaches. Coach Harry is a relationship builder.
Yes.
He sees the big
He's a
picture.
hugger. He's everything.
Yes. He can get out and talk, and people like him and all that. But he's a dog.
Yeah.
He's an absolute dog, and he knows what he needs. But what's funny is you hear people all the time talk about what they don't have. I need this to be successful. You never hear that from Steve Harry.
No.
Steve Harry takes whatever he's got and he goes and makes it better. And that's just and like from a junior high football standpoint, he gives me whatever I need. And what do you got to do to win? It's not do this or do this my way or what you need to win. And that's just awesome to be a part of.
I always hear from people like, I think now that Central built one, I think we're the only school before it that doesn't have an indoor football practice facility. And we're a top 5 team in 6A.
Right. So you've never heard Steve Harry say he has to have a twin. Would it be great? Absolutely.
Now, it gets frustrating when you get, early August, you're hitting that wet bulb, and you got to change up your practice plan or practice at 6 a.m., but that's the alternative. Instead of just cancel a practice, say, we'll go at 6 a.m. Before it's colder. And that's big. When your boss is not making excuses, then that trickles down.
He told me when I came here, I had 2 choices. I could either win football games or go work at Domino's. So that's what he told me, and we laugh about it, to this day. But I took him at his word. I promise you.
Now, what was the story he always tells on XL7 in the morning? Like he said, or you said, I don't like you or something like that, but I'll come work for you or something like that.
Well,
something like that.
Well, I was in Harrison when I could tell you a lot of Steve Harry stories. He actually when I left Harrison, he actually got my job, and. But I saw him on TV, and they'd beat us in a 7-on-7 in the finals, and he was talking about it, and he said something like, yeah, we're pretty good. And I was like, that guy, I don't like this guy. And none. Coach Rodden, who's baseball coach in Harrison, my best friends, Coach Harry right there had told Matt he wanted to call me, and we met. And like I said, I was out of coaching at that point, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't know if I was ever going to get back in it. But I met him at McDonald's over there on Main Street, and I walked in, and I shook his hand, and I told him, I said, if you want to beat Harrison in junior high, I'm your guy. And I wanted to be here, and we talked about it, and we had an agreement that we were both going to go win on that field. And because he's got some things that rub him the wrong way too, and when they beat him over there this year, that was awesome. It was awesome. And I have a lot of people over there I love to this day. And I got a lot of people I don't, and we'll just leave it at that,
But yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun over there.
Yes.
And you could tell because what I always see, and this, again, I have a lot of people I like over there, too. I like Coach Wells, one of my favorite people.
Coach Wells is a great guy.
I like, now I just like him more because he's a Cubs fan, but Coach Stoller, another one of my people that I like because I've just seen him a lot. But, and I always tell people this over there. I'm like, I could like you 364 days out of the year.
Right.
When at 7 o'clock when that ball kicks off, don't text me.
It's turned that
Don't
way
holler at
again.
me.
It's turned that way again the last few years.
Because it's a conference game now.
Yes. I mean, and it's kind of everything but football.
Yeah.
But, I mean, football's turned, like, it's the rivalry is, and honestly, the people in Mountain Home have done such a great job with it. Yeah. I mean, and they have surpassed, the people at Harrison. And I have people tell me that. They're like, this means more to y'all now. And I'm like, hey, like, come get us, and that's what, and they're going to keep working for it as far as that goes. I'm really good friends with Coach Keelan over there. I mean, I sit with him at Harding games. I go watch Cole play. I'm going this weekend, watch him play Henderson. I mean, he's a great guy, great coach. And I hope those guys win, except when they're playing us. It's
kind of one of those situations. You hope they go 9-1.
Yes, it's awesome to see the rivalry at the level it's gotten to. And honestly, I've been on the other side of it for a long time. It's bigger right now than I've ever seen it. Yeah. And I've been in it 22 years. I mean, much bigger, and that's it's good for everybody. It's a bigger gate, Yeah, good for both communities.
I've been alive for 29 years, and it's the biggest I've ever seen it.
Yes.
Not like
basketball games last year were just fire.
That's like when we played them here in basketball. I don't think I've ever seen that many people packed in the gym like that.
Right.
Because that game, it matters now. But like if you play them in December, or like if it's a non-conference game in baseball, it's like, okay, if we win, it makes you better because you're playing good competition. But now it's like, if we don't throw one in from 60 feet at the Goblin Arena or whatever it's called now, I mean, we don't make it to state.
I know it. I mean, you got to have
stuff like that.
I mean, you absolutely got to have it, and I mean, it makes it matter, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Coach Crow, before we let you go, you got a score prediction for tonight. Bombers and Fort Smith. I know you're probably you're gonna be. I don't. Do you go to road games? I can't remember.
I some of them I go to. Most of the time I watch at home. There's not a lot I can do to help those guys on Friday nights. They know what they're doing, and honestly, it helps me with my kids to not have to go that stuff right there. I think we're going to win the football game. I think playing over there is going to be tough. I watched a little bit of film. I like how we match up. If our offensive line will block, I think we got a good chance. If our offensive line plays well, our backs pretty good.
Yeah. That helps Brantley out too.
I've coached all of them, so I can promise you, like I know what's coming right there. So,
Coach Crow, appreciate the time, man.
Hey, appreciate you, DConn. You do a great job.
Yeah. So we're going to take a little break. We're going to have a little pregame for you against Fort Smith Southside here in just a moment, here on the Bomber Buzz.
Hey y'all, I'm Kelly Clarkson. Every American dreams of creating a better life for his or her family, but in some communities, those dreams face difficult challenges. When we come together to help those in need get the same opportunities as everyone else, we truly are making our country a better place to live for all of us. So look for volunteer opportunities in your community to help others achieve the American dream, all right? This message is courtesy of the United States Air Force.
Back here on the Bomber Buzz, we're getting so close to kickoff in Fort Smith. Should be a good game tonight. Hopefully the weather changes just a little bit. Hopefully it's not a soggy evening of football, but it should be a good game. I talked to Kyle Sutherland and Kevin Bohannon, National State Sports. They were saying that, you have Greenwood, you have Benton, you have Shiloh Christian, you have Marion, and then this is kind of that battle for the fifth best team in 6A. I mean, a lot of publications across the state, a lot of just people around the state seem to think that both of these teams are top 5 talented. They meet so early. This is not even the marquee matchup of the conference. Greenwood and Shiloh are also playing this evening, so we'll see how good both of those teams are. Greenwood's just been lighting up the scoreboard. And then you have there's a whole bunch of good games that evening. But again, the Mountain Home Bombers, they'll need to finish top 6 to make it to state. And then to host a playoff game, they'll need to make top 4 if they want to have a bye in the first round of the state playoffs. They need to finish top 2. So if they can rattle off a win at Fort Smith, their path to not only a home playoff game but a first round bye would be so much closer. Again, should be a good one tonight. A couple events next week. Lady Bomber Volleyball is home on Tuesday against Greene County Tech, and then we're back home. We're going to do a stripe out against Shiloh Christian. We haven't done one of these before, but it was an idea that a lot of our Boom Squad kids, a few people in the community had suggested it over the years. And you know what? We're going to give it a try. So we'll have some graphics out here on KTLO, Classic Hits and the Boot, and on the Bomber social media pages and at mhbombersports.com with more information for that. Basically, if the normal seat that you're in, if you are in, let's say, the section in front of the press box, that section will be a white shirt section. The Boom Squad section will be blue, and then it'll stripe out the whole length of Bomber Stadium. It should be a good one. But tonight, the Mountain Home Bomber football team is taking on Fort Smith Southside. Again, these two teams have never met. Don't know a whole lot about them. We got rosters sent in, but other than that, other than the two games they've played, there's not just a whole lot out there about it, but can't wait to see what happens. It's been the Bomber Buzz this week on Classic Hits 101.7 and on the Bomber Sports Network. Have a good weekend.